All right, we are on the Golden Circle tour through Royal Caribbean, and we are at our first stop. This is an 8-hour tour, so we'll try to show you the highlights. And we're at the Þingvellir National Park outside of Reykjavík, and we've been driving along on a rift valley, and it's all basically lava fields from 4,000 years ago. And we are now going to walk across the rift, the actual rift itself, on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is the spreading center where all the magma came up through, and then the border of the North American plate and the Eurasian plate. So our tour guide's going to give us an overview, and then we're going to take the hike. It's only a 20-minute hike, but we're going to go stand on the rift zone. So we're going to stand on North American plate and show you the other plate. That's going to be cool. Okay, so the entire Rift Valley is the border, and so right where the base of the mountains is basically the other plate, the Eurasian plate. We're on the North American plate here. The Eurasian plate is there. This is just one rift, but the Rift Valley is several of these fissures, and you can see the entire Rift Valley that forms the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Okay, so we're beginning our descent down to the lower level, and so that entire Rift Valley, that was the border of the two tectonic plates. We're on the North American plate, and the Eurasian plate was at the base of those mountains over there. But we drove through the entire Rift Valley. It's not just one crack, it's a series of cracks. And 4,000 years ago, this whole valley was just lava fields, just flowing lava. It was like on fire. And eventually the rocks cooled and formed basalt. And I'm going to show you here the basalt. It's just an easy walk down, but you can see the layers of basalt here. This is just one of the cracks of many. And this is one of many cracks where lava came up through as we are walking through one of the rifts. And this is entire area that it can become active at any time. At any time, a volcano could erupt, magma could come up, fissures can erupt as pressure inside the earth. And so it's nature, by the way. It can happen. This is all basalt. Some of them have little pores in it from. This is all basalt. Yep, it's all from lava flows. Yep, everything. It's all one big lava flow. And you can see it in layers. As it cooled, it formed the rocks. So we continue straight all the way, we don't turn right. And see the base of the mountain across the distance. That's the Eurasian plate. This entire Rift Valley.
So was this where everything came through?
This entire valley was just cracks in the Earth's crust, and magma was coming up, and just lava was just flowing all over. Yep, this is more lava. All these are just cracks and fractures in the crust. And we're walking along one of the fractures. And as I was telling everyone, at any time, these can erupt. You can have an earthquake and the cracks reopen.
Bye, kitties.
Yeah. So.
Bye, Ollie.
And these are a good, 100 feet, almost 100 feet of basalt right here. Yep. So these layers of lava, as they cooled, new layers, rocks formed as the layers cooled and more lava flowed. And the way it cooled, it formed curious features called columnar jointing. As you can see, another good example of columnar jointing is along the Hudson River in New York. Pacific Palisades has layers of gabbro and basalt, because that area also has some historical volcanic activity. But this is, yep. It's a nice day here in nearby Reykjavík. It's about 52 degrees. So this area is known as Snorabut, or Snor's booths. Booths are little places people used to live. This looks like one of them. The remnants of a booth, or looks like some more over there from 900 AD to in the 1200s. And this is kind of what they look like. I'm showing you. And this looks like one of the remnants right here, where they built it up with earth and then they made rocks or something to make a shelter. And this is what they lived in, and this is kind of how it looked. Along the banks of this river, along this rift valley here. All right, so this is known as the drowning pool.
True. That's what I see in Florida.
Women in the 1700s, actually maybe it was earlier than that. It was 900s to 1200s. They used to, they got
actually
drowned all the way.
They gave them their names.
Okay, so 1600s and into the middle 1700s, women actually got drowned here for things such as having a child out of wedlock, incest, maybe intoxication, and they would drown the women. They would hang the men, but drown the women. It was more ladylike to kill them in a more humane fashion, but this is where they drowned them.
I think drowning would be much worse than a hanging.
And there's a list of women, looks like about 15 or so women that they at least know of.
Tied up in a sack.
They tied them up on a sack, pushed them out into the pool and held them under.
Oh my God.
So that's the drowning pool. That's terrible. And they have a list of the women and how they did it. Doesn't look that deep, but I guess it's deep enough. Here's where part of that waterfall dumps in to the river. It's beautiful. All right, so that was stop number 1 on the Golden Circle tour here in Thingvellir National Park near Reykjavík, Iceland, and we walked through one of the many fissures along this rift valley and the North American plate we were standing on here, and then off in the distance we saw earlier across the rift valley was the Eurasian plate, and we saw the basalt layers, the columnar jointing, and some little bit of history here of the inhabitants and the drowning pool. So that was stop 1 on the Golden Circle. So on with the tour. All right, so we are here at the Geyser Center. We are going to see the hot springs and the geyser, the big one. It goes about 90 to 100 feet in the air. So we're going to see some hot springs, and then we're going to see the big geyser. All right, so the first thing we see are the bubbling hot springs. And the water can be very, very hot. It's boiling, so it's over 100 degrees. So,
Yellowstone, that one erupted.
yeah.
Remember?
Mm-hmm. So these are bubbling, boiling springs. But over at the way back there, we're gonna see the strong one. Is the one we're gonna see right there. We're over here. We're gonna go up. We're gonna see Stroker, the big geyser. Here we go. We're gonna go see it now. There's some more of the hot pots. That's probably 200 degrees. You don't want to get in that one. All right, so here is the Stroker geyser. And no one knows when exactly it's going to blow. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Because it's over here. This is the hot pot. And everyone's standing around waiting. Has a little bit of a sulfur odor. So you can see right there, it's a big one. We could get wet over here. There's a little bit of a sulfur smell. And I don't know when the last one erupted. It was probably like 8 minutes ago, so it's probably going to be coming soon. And you may be able to get about a 5-second warning. All right. And the steam continues to build. It's going to go up really high. It's going to go way up there. Okay, it's getting ready now. You can see the people all around. All waiting. Here it goes. Here it goes. Uh-oh. It was just clearing its throat. That wasn't the spectacular one. It could take several minutes for the next one, but that was it. Sometimes it goes up big, sometimes it does that. Well, he was just clearing his throat. You're going to have to wait about 10 minutes for the next one. All right, so the last one was just a burping. He's clearing his throat. That means the next one's going to be big. So we're going to hang out here and wait for the next one. It's going to be big. Oh, getting wet. That was it. There it was. Big steam eruption. All right. That was cool. Didn't have much warning, but we got it. All right, so we saw the Stroker here in Iceland. And I think it's one of the top geysers, number 2 in the world. Old Faithful's number 3. Okay. We're going to have to see what number 1 is. We're going to go and check the statistics.
steamboat was in there.
Steamboat Springs?
No, I thought she was talking
Oh.
about steamboat.
We're gonna go back to the signs and give you the stats. Here's one of the hot pots, as you can see there. You don't want to be jumping in that one. Okay, this shows the highest geysers in the world, and Steamboat at Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
It's not in Steamboat Springs.
It's not. It's not Steamboat Springs. It's in
It's
Utah.
in one of the parks.
Well, Steamboat. Maybe it's in Yellowstone.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
it's in Yellowstone.
Then we have Geyser, which is actually nearby here, but it doesn't erupt much anymore. Old Faithful, and then Stroker.
Stroker's a baby.
So Old Faithful goes about the same, maybe a little higher.
Stroker's been erupting every 5 minutes. Geyser hasn't erupted since we
Yeah, they said
We
it
just
doesn't go
saw
up
it
very
go.
much. High temperature geothermal area with a base temperature of around 250 degrees.
It's not
see
Steamboat.
that.
Steamboat.
But it's not Steamboat Springs. Steamboat, I think, is the name of the geyser.
Yeah, it could be at Yellowstone.
Well, that lady was very familiar with it. She said it really goes up there.
Okay, so there you go. Stroker is the 4th highest in the world.
It's the onion and the mac and cheese quiche.
All right, so we made it to the next stop. This is the Gylfoss, or Golden Waterfall. I'm learning the language. I know in Norwegian, fossen is waterfall, but here just foss. So Gylfossen, Golden Waterfall, and it got its name. There's a few different theories on why it got its name. Could be that someone earlier on buried some gold beneath it, or when the sunshine hits, it appears to be golden. But I think the theory that I believe is correct is when there's light drizzle and mist, there's waterfall that the waterfall is covered by a rainbow. And so, you know, how people think that there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So with the rainbow there might be gold, so they call it the Golden Waterfall. So let's go down the path and check it out. Well, here is your first glimpse at the Golden Waterfall. It's 180 feet high. It's not the tallest, the biggest, or the most powerful, but it is a beloved waterfall. The people that owned the land here in the early 1900s were approached by some English businessmen to buy it to build a hydroelectric power plant, and the daughter was very, very upset and said, "I'll throw myself into the waterfall if you sell it." So she saved the waterfall from the power company, and it remains today as a beautiful spectacle to see, to be enjoyed by generations. So we're going to make our way down here and we'll get closer to it. Look at that powerful waterfall. Oh, it's 2 stages. Now that's amazing. That is really amazing. We can go all the way down over there. That's quite a unique waterfall. It's never seen anything like that before.
It's a very different one.
Yeah, very, very different. And we're gonna go down over there. All right, so we're walking out here to the, wow, powerful waterfalls here. There's another really good angle of the second stage of the waterfall. Wow, look at this part. Now, that's phenomenal. Here you can see the chasm on the second stage. This is crazy right here. Wow. Wow, this is fantastic. Look at that. There's stage 2 right there. And we're going to go back up here to stage 1 now. All right, let's walk up here to stage 1. You can hear, oh, look over here. We'll have to go up here. Wow. I think there's like 3 stages. So there's 3 stages. So here is stage 1. I guess that's like 1.5. That's 1.5. Maybe that's 2. So that's 3 stages. 1, 2, 3. 3 stages. All 3 stages right here. Golden Waterfall, Gilfoss. Incredible power. 3-stage waterfall. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Really, really cool. All right. Time to head back down. And heading back down. This is very easy to get here. Very easy to get here, but that is the most unique waterfall I think I've ever seen. That is really, really cool. There's the Golden Waterfall. All right, one last look at the 3 stages. And one is behind them. There's the 3 stages. Chicken over here. Thank you. All right, this is the lunch. We had tomato soup. Now we have salmon, and if you don't like salmon,
You know what though? Oh, I have a
get an
fork. Do you want to
alternate
get rid of that plate or?
plate.
Here.
Really, really cool.
And here to your right you have lots of steam coming up from the earth from the hot springs. They have a valley here called Reykjavík, or Smoky Valley, and about 1,000 people walk into Reykjavík every day because you've been hiking for about an hour. You can take a bath in a natural warm river there. It's really popular both with our locals and our guests. And they are horseback riding, biking and whatever in this. Reykjadal is really popular, and you will see it here coming up on your right hand side down below. There's a small valley there and river running through, and you can see the parking lot. This is all people that are parked there for going walking, hiking into Reykjadalur or biking or whatever. So that's really popular.
Here we are in Orca Natural Energy. We're gonna go inside and we're gonna get an introduction.
Welcome to Þingvellir Geothermal Power Plant and the exhibition area. My name is Yagis. I'll give you a quick introduction about what do we do here. After that, there will be a free time to explore our exhibition on your own. In Þingvellir Power Plant, we do two essential things. We generate electricity and provide hot water. In terms of electricity, Þingvellir Power Plant can generate 303 megawatts. You can think of 1 megawatt will be enough to power 1,000 people, or to be more precise, 1 hour electricity generation from this power plant can power 10,000 houses in Reykjavík for a whole day, which makes us the biggest geothermal power plant in Iceland and possibly in Europe as well. In terms of hot water, we are providing 250 gallons per second or 1,000 liters per second hot water with a temperature of 85 Celsius or 185 Fahrenheit. It's boiling hot. And thanks to our elevation, the water goes itself from here to Reykjavík. It is almost 20 kilometers from here to Reykjavík, and during this journey, our heat loss is only 2 Celsius, which is still boiling hot. Once the water arrives in Reykjavík, Reykjavík State takes care of pumping the houses, greenhouses, swimming pools, hospitals, pretty much everywhere. After the use of hot water, it goes into our sewage system, then it goes into our wastewater treatment systems and end up in the ocean. This is one-way direction from here to Reykjavík hot water. Okay, you might think of how is it even possible, or what is the source? The source is the Earth itself with the unique setup. To have such a unique setup, you need to have 3 ingredients. You need a heat source, water, high porosity and permeability bedrock. In terms of heat source, luckily we are sitting top of the Þingvellir volcano. The last eruption was 2,000 years ago. Since then it's in standby. Thanks to our real-time data monitoring and observation, there is no indication regarding eruption. And since we have the heat source, it's time to tackle with the water. The water is basically precipitation. In Iceland, during the summer it rains, in the winter it snows. Apart from that, we have a glacier melting. Think of a glacier, and under it there is an active volcano. It's a constant melting happening, and it actually provides us a lot of water. The last thing we need to tackle is high porosity and permeability bedrock. So luckily we have 90% basalt bedrock. So basalt has also porous medium inside it, which is empty holes. Therefore, we can store plenty of water in this basaltic bedrock. But the porosity itself is not enough. We also need permeability. So you can think of permeability as a transmitting rate between the pore to another pore. If you have high permeability, you can transmit the water a lot faster and you can utilize it. So since we have a working geothermal system, now it's time to gain access. So to gain access to the system, we are drilling down to earth. Our boreholes are up to 2.5 kilometers or just above 1.1 mile. So the temperature and the pressure at this depth is really great. We can reach up to 600 Fahrenheit or 320 Celsius. And the pressure is 240 times greater than atmospheric pressure. So thanks to this high pressure, our geothermal fluid stays as a water. But once we exert this, once we arrive at the top of our wells, due to pressure drop, our geothermal water turns into geothermal fluid. And geothermal fluid, combination of 3 things: hot water, steam, and gases. Steam is what we need to generate electricity. So we have 48 production boreholes where we collect this fluid. and we send into our separation center. We have a separation tanks where we separate steam from the water. So, and the steam is what we need to generate electricity. At the same we have seven turbines, 6 of them high pressure and 1 low pressure turbine. So that takes the velocity of the steam, steam hits the blades of the turbine and starts to spin the turbine blades, and then blades starts to spin the shaft of the turbine, and the shaft connected to the generator, where we actually convert mechanical energy to electromagnetic energy and eventually electricity. After the use of steam, we are taking steam under vacuum pressure and putting into condenser units, where we condense the steam back into water. So if you remember, I was mentioning that we are also providing hot water from here to Reykjavík. You might think of we're sending geothermal hot water right away, but in reality we are not doing this. It's because the geothermal hot water is minerally rich. If we want to send this water, due to a high concentration of calcium and silica, our production will stop at some point due to classification. So to prevent this issue, we are drilling another well to gain access to cold water. We're taking the cold water, putting inside the heat exchanger. In this heat exchanger, think of 2 pipes, they're touching each other, but they're not mixing. So what happens is we're transferring the heat from geothermal water to the fresh groundwater. And after this process, we can heat up the groundwater up to 85 Celsius or 185 Fahrenheit. Okay, the last thing that we have is our gases. So most of the power plants actually emit these gases to the atmosphere, but in here, we are capturing it. We capture carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. So carbon dioxide is basically greenhouse gases, where there's the heat, and hydrogen sulfide is a corrosive gas, especially if it's highly concentrated. If it's in low concentration, you can get the smell of rotten egg. Okay. So what we're doing is we're capturing these 2 gases. Think of a giant soda machine. At the bottom, we have the geothermal water. On the top, we have carbonating mechanism. So what happens is we are carbonating geothermal hot water. So you can think of geothermal tonic water with the flavor of rotten eggs. Once we have this mixture, it's time to send it back to Earth. So we have reinjection wells. It takes 2 years to finalize crystallization. So what happens is the calcium that we have in our bedrock captures carbon dioxide and turns into calcium carbonate, limestone. And the iron that we have in our bedrock captures hydrogen sulfide and turns into pyrite, which is fool's gold. So this whole process called Carfix, if you want to know about this specific process, I recommend you to check the 2nd floor, or if you are more into how we operate this power plant, I recommend you to check 3rd floor. And the top floor, we have balconies where you can see our turbine halls and heat exchangers and cooling towers. And lastly, we have plenty of videos looping through the top floor, where you can see geological settings of Iceland and how to make a rock from the gas. If you have any questions, me and my colleagues will be here to answer it. That was the end of my presentation, and thank you for your attention.
So this is the geothermal energy plant we just saw, well, I just saw, a little demonstration or instructional, and what they do with the CO2 that is generated from the gases and the steam. They capture the CO2 and they inject it into the water stream, or into a water stream, and then it gets injected into injection wells several thousand feet down into the basalt layers, which is porous, and the CO2 becomes solidified into calcium carbonate. So the water goes through the pores and the fractures, and it gets solidified, and that's kind of how they dispose of the carbon in the injection wells. And so this is where they basically take the hot water, they recover it, they send it to Reykjavík, they capture the steam, they generate electricity with it through electromagnetic turbines, as you can see over here. It's very, very interesting. They show here a little display of all of the processes that goes through. So I won't bore you with those details. You heard the presentation earlier, but this is a little exhibit hall. Very, very interesting. Cross section of what the pipelines look like that we saw out there. Insulation, and as you heard the narrator, there's only about a 2-degree heat loss from here to Reykjavík, so very, very good insulated. The geothermal extraction and injection wells. And you can see the pipelines off in the distance. You can smell a little bit of the sulfur gas. So they do treat the water and remove the sulfur and the carbon, otherwise it would scale up and cause problems. But see the pipelines. Yeah, there's more extraction wells down there. These are just some. That's a water treatment over there, but these are, oh, right down there, yeah. It's like a charging station, yeah.
It's our first charging.
Free electricity here. And inside are the electromagnetic turbines where they get the steam running through there and it spins the turbines and creates electricity. All right, so we are back to the ship. We did the Golden Circle with lunch. It's a Royal Caribbean ship excursion. And what a fun-filled and jam-packed day. We started off with a walk in the national park, and we're at the Rift Valley, and we're at the border between the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates, so we got to see some of that. We got to stop at the Golden Waterfalls, the Golden Falls, Gilfoss, and it's a 3-step falls. Boy, that was amazing. We had lunch. We went to the power plant. We also did the hot springs, and we saw the geyser. So, you know, we had a lot of fun today, and I hope you like this excursion, and I definitely recommend it. I give it a 2 thumbs up. So if you're doing a Royal Caribbean cruise to Iceland, definitely in Reykjavík do the Golden Circle with lunch. Reykjavík, by the way, means Smoky Bay, as the first Vikings that came here noticed that the bay had a smoke all over it, and it was actually mist from the geothermal activity, but they'd never seen that before, so they just thought it was smoke. So there's a few towns in here that are Rek something, and Reykja means smoky. So Reykjavík is Smoky Bay. So please give this a thumbs up, and please subscribe for much more coming from another Royal Caribbean cruise ship near you.